My name is Bella, and I work for a company called Caladan. So those who might be not familiar with who I am and what I'm doing, Caladan is a tech-driven trading group. We established our firm in 2017, and maybe you guys might be familiar with our previous name called Alpha Labs Capital. So we do a market making / VC investment. So I'm here. So I'm basically covering Korean partnership, and also we're engaging with a lot of projects in terms of their market making and liquidity provision. So I'm so honored to be in here with this. All of the gigabrains in this industry. So let's kick off with giving the introduction of each other. Yeah, let's start from here. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Solean from Cycle Network. So I'm the head of business development in America. And what we're doing at Cycle Network is we are building a liquidity aggregator for all blockchains and across all chains. And we are building this in a trustless way, decentralized way. And we are basically using a full stack chain abstraction. I think we'll get more into it later.
Hi everyone, I'm Pierre from Trust Wallet. I'm head of BD there, so for people who don't know what is Trust Wallet, we are the largest mobile wallet on the cross-chain level. We are supporting both EVM and non-EVM, and staking, restaking, and previously liquid staking are very interesting topic for us from a yield perspective for our users.
Hey everyone, my name is Jafar. I'm from the Composable Foundation, where we build Picasso and Mantis. So Picasso is a IBC-based bridging application, which is connecting Cosmos, Solana, and Ethereum. And we also have a restaking layer live on Solana with an AVS in production.
Hey guys, this is Deli. I'm the co-founder of Automata Network. We're building a modular attestation layer that brings machine-based attestations on-chain. So one of the product we just recently launched is a multi-prover AVS on EigenLayer. So it helps all the ZK rollups to detect any kind of issues in their ZK proving circuits and try to prevent the issue from happening before it committed on-chain. So we're also building proof of machinehood based verifications, so that user devices or some other computing devices can be verified on-chain as well.
Yeah, thanks for all of the introduction. I was preparing for this panel and I realized we all came from a little bit of different building background and also infrastructure, but what we are doing in this space is we are actually solving the issues of trust. So we can start with a warm-up questions. So how is trust maintained and managed in this crypto era? Can you guys give a little bit of ideas about?
So I think, trust can be seen in two ways. So I think we can see the transparency of the blockchain, from smart contract auditing to public transactions on the blockchain to even proof of reserve of centralized exchanges. And the second thing is, of course, decentralization. I think when we are thinking of decentralization, we are, of course, thinking that the central authority could have some issues and could have some problems, and decentralization is solving this. Actually, at Cycle, what we are using is everything we are using is decentralized, and we are using zero knowledge proof also. Yeah.
I agree 100% with what you said just before. I would also add the security at the third component in the trust for the ecosystem. As a wallet, if we are here from 2017 and still here on the market, it's not because we are always right about what we are doing, but mostly because we have never been seriously wrong. And this from a security standpoint mostly. We always try to see how we can combine new features, user experience, but without compromising security at any point. So you can do swap, you can do staking, you can hold your assets, you can bridge. Everything almost can be done through Trust Wallet right now. But for all that features, we always keep in mind how we can bring more innovation, more services through the highest standard in security. So I agree, decentralization, transparency, and security are, from my perspective, the true component of the trust in the Web3 ecosystem.
So this is essentially a new way for us to do computations, do even some identities, or also we had all the system, DeFi and stuff built on top of it. So now we are now even approaching it with this kind of derivative trust. So if we have like eigenlayer, we can like build other AVSs or essentially middlewares on top of it using the same kind of trust source like Ethereum's staked ETH. So this is kind of revolutionary change that we are having right now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think like we're all aligned in terms of like security. And my next question might be, let's move on to the restaking sector. So some projects will be directly related to restaking. And I'm also curious if you are like wallet provider and other like layer, why restaking does like matter and what are your like viewpoints, why is it important? Let's start with like about restaking.
So I think, I will take this first. So the security perspective is really important to us because we're essentially building security solutions using like hardwares. So this is something that has been missing before because previously we treat each of these kind of compute node as anonymous, as identical, so we don't really differentiate from each of them. But now with like what we're building, proof of machinehood, you can start having more trust on machines because each of the machines right now have something called secure enclaves. More or less, they all have this kind of solutions, which allows anyone in the public to verify if a particular machine is really the genuine one instead of simulated or maybe a bot. So with this kind of like infrastructure, you can really imagine like a lot of new applications being built on top of it. So the AVS we created is just one of them, but we're also like generally looking at more creative use cases. For example, if you can assign an ID to each of the devices, you can treat them pretty much like checked like identities, so they can be allowed to participate in some kind of campaigns, events. There's a lot of extended use cases based on this.
So with me, I guess what I see is that a lot of teams struggle to secure their project with their native token, and I think restaking can definitely be a solution there. So either because it's not sustainable or efficient for them to use their own native token, so restaking can definitely be a factor there. And I guess I'd also like to see a lot of projects come out and sort of have tokenless projects. You know, a lot of times people say that, you know, this project doesn't need a token. There's like 1,000 coins out there. How many of them truly do need a token? If their reason is security, then they can just go to a restaking layer and launch their project.
I think the scope of using security for talking about restaking and why it's important, it's kind of half of the answer or the question. I think security is always coming from the scalability issue. The more we are adding security, the more we have to keep in mind how to keep the whole infrastructure scalable, to continue to onboard more people and to increase the on-chain activity. Based on that, restaking seems to be a good promises on the paper, since we are considering with the same underlying tokens, you will be able to provide more security to the whole network by using the liquid token for securing new DApp or new protocol. So from that perspective, the security shouldn't compromise too much the scalability of all the DApp and all the services going to be built on top of it.
So I think there are many ways to answer this question, but one way that I like to look at crypto and restaking is crypto as the intersection of finance and technology. And in finance, capital efficiency is one of the hardest problems, and it's really maximizing the user, increasing the user's fees, and capital efficiency has to be solved in a way. Traditional finance solved it, and restake, they don't have the equivalent of restaking. So we are solving our capital efficiency problem through restaking with another way that traditional finance is doing. And restaking is going to help new projects to bootstrap, and it's crucial for them to bootstrap the new protocols, but it's also going to be really useful for actual projects that are already live to scale even faster. So at the end of the day, I think restaking is also going to improve user experience.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the explanation. And my next question is, I think there are still remaining risks in terms of restaking. And yeah, we are all aware of which kind of risk they are, but can you guys explain like what your thoughts on, are there any remaining risks, and are there any active areas that you guys are trying to solve when it comes to restaking?
I'm going to talk about it from a purely wallet perspective. We are a B2C product mostly, where we try to onboard people and to bring them value through the Web3 experience they can get from Trust Wallet. Considering that, we are always trying to put in perspective what are the risk and the reward ratio we are going to bring them. Considering the risk-taking now, the main risk from our perspective is kind of the smart contract risk, where we are going to put the underlying asset used to securing a network at risk on multiple levels of smart contract on top of it. So for us, this is the main risk of the ecosystem. Once we address that with audits, with more experience, more historical activity on that protocol, we might consider as standpoint the extra yield providing by the risk-taking to the user is going to compensate what could be the potential risk on the smart contract. So from a wallet perspective, it's always that. It's, okay, this is going to bring more yields or an extra services to our users. But at the end, which risk we are exposing our user, because we are always considering 100% of our user doesn't have all the information they need to understand if the services they are using is fully safe for them, that they are putting trust in the wallet. So yeah, for us, that the main risk is a smart contract risk.
I see. Anyone can add?
Yeah, I would say it's the maturity of the ecosystem, because if you look at the how risk-taking grows from zero to now, you have pretty much mature like liquidity, because it's already there. Like you have so many like raised staked E's already, and you probably also have some like good infrastructure. But then everything, the rest is being built on top of it is really new. Like all the AVSs being launched, and also the smart contract being created by the core layers. Like maybe Eigen have some smart contract, some other RTs have some smart contract as well. Also, there's also like understanding of the like the entire mechanism. Like if those stakers who delegate token to the operator really understand the risk associated with risk-taking, really understand the meaning or the task that's being done by each of the AVS. So I think we are still at very early stage. I mean, these are things that some are really tech related, some are not tech related, but I mean, the maturity is really, is still not there yet. So as an AVS developer, we do see issues. We also, sometimes we look at other people's, like the code, the creativity of other projects. We know that basically it's not ready yet, but we are getting there, yeah.
I think I agree with Pierre and what he said about the smart contract risk. I think this is one of the main risks. Maybe to add something different and a different take would be saying the potential centralization of the validator. That's also a risk that could be implemented, I mean, could be increasing in the future, whether it be on Bitcoin or even with the proof of stake of Ethereum. So I think, I mean, we are solving this issue using a shared sequencer at Cycle Network. And we are going to have a presentation after this where we can go deeper into the tech. But basically, the potential centralization of the validators, I think it's a risk that we have to talk about more.
I mean, I guess another one is just learning from the mistakes in the past. So, like, Eigenlayer is live now. Some other restaking layers are live now. But Polkadot has been live for a few years, and that's essentially been the first restaking protocol. So just the risk is essentially not dying. So, like, just having sustainable rewards for restakers, having it proportional to the amount of stake that you're trying to secure. It's like, are people going to keep depositing into restaking vaults if the rewards that they're getting doesn't match sort of their deposits? So I'd say just keeping that in mind is probably the most important thing.
I see. Can I just add more, like how Cycle is like adding more value in terms of you guys are using shared sequencing network, so might be directly relevant to the risk that most of the people are aware of. So how do you guys like putting an efforts in terms of solving the risk of restaking?
So when you restake, there are a few different risks, and one of them is using, I mean, it depends on the asset that you are restaking. We are seeing more and more restaking protocols, and they are using an increasing amount of different tokens to restake. So you can restake ETH, you can restake meme coins, and you can even restake stablecoins. So there are a variety of risks, and I think, for example, if you are restaking stablecoin or ETH, the risk is going to be way lower than restaking meme coins. So we want to solve this issue by allowing people mainly to restake ETH and stablecoins.
Can I also ask to Picasso, like, people might be familiar with that you guys are also building restaking protocol in Solana. So, like, what's your perspective in terms of like adding what he said before?
Like other collateral types?
Yeah, like culture types.
Yeah, I mean, so right now we accept Sol and Solana LSTs. You know, we were asked to add a lot of different collateral types from other teams, but we're still very early in sort of the restaking life cycle, and if we start adding LRTs or meme coins, it's not a road that we want to take first, I'd say. But I think we do plan to add stable coins in the near future.
I see. Yeah, in terms of restaking sector, we talk about the assets we are choosing, and as this panel is planned to be restaking and interoperability, I'm also very curious about, so since interoperability is key to blockchain, like despite implementation difficulties, so how are you guys contributing to interoperability? I know it might be a like broad question, but want to just hear one by one.
So interoperability has been a big problem in Web3 for a long time. I mean, we are seeing an increasing amount of layer ones of blockchains or rollups of protocols. The way we are solving this issue at Cycle is we are solving the blockchain and the chain and the rollups interoperability problem. So you are going to have a unified liquidity aggregator through the front end of Cycle. And we are also building an infrastructure that allows any developer to develop using our SDK. They can develop protocols and the apps on Cycle Network. And everything is going to be decentralized. I think interoperability, at the end of the day, it's a user experience problem. That's, I think, something that the wallets can have a huge impact also, right? Yeah. So I think we are going to work with hand in hand with the wallets in order to solve this issue.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. During the past 6 years, we saw a lot of blockchain, layer 1, layer 2, EVM, non-EVM, lots of different ecosystems who sometimes are struggling to communicate each other. And from a user perspective, this can be kind of a very pain point when you want to move from one chain to another ecosystem. As a wallet, we have kind of a privileged position. If I can say, we are in the middle of all of that, so we try to bridge and to be connected to as much as the app possible, as much as ecosystem possible, and we try to make the interaction to move the assets from one point to another as seamless as possible for our user. So I agree about the point. Interoperability, it's mostly right now kind of a user experience issue more than a real tech or a back-end problem, where we need to find a way to continue on that direction. All the wallets, the more we are going to abstract the blockchain itself and the Web3 for the user, the more they wouldn't have the feeling to use a Web3 services or blockchain services, and just to use the services exactly as they're doing with their banking app or with their Uber app. That they're not thinking about what's in the back end of the services I'm using. So it's, for us, from a product perspective, this should be the target for all the wallet to make all the services very seamless from a user perspective.
So at Picasso, we're building an IBC-based bridging application. As I mentioned, IBC was originally founded in the Cosmos ecosystem and built by the Cosmos team. So we actually took this out, implemented it on Polkadot, Ethereum, and Solana. So we've had to chew a lot of glass because with IBC, you're bridging at the consensus level, and there aren't really any easy way of building it. There isn't an easy way of building it. So with us, right now we're focusing on building it and planning on building it on other layer ones where the users are, and also trying to build this hybrid version for Bitcoin?
So I think our positioning on this is we're at the infra layer. We're kind of the downstream. We know that like this kind of with many rollups, like with many new layer ones, interoperability issue gonna be, I would say, worse. But then it's becoming more like the awareness is higher because now people know that this is something that exists from day one. Not like 3 years ago when people first heard about like bridges or even know that the wallet need to support multiple chains. It's really painful to just extend the support to any new chains or long tail chains. But now I think people get to use that. Developers know that we have to use some kind of chain abstraction layer so that we can easily support all the possible new launches in the future. So this becoming a kind of like the awareness is different now because we know it's solvable. It's just now we are really looking at the solutions. I mean, the panelists just mentioned that they're also building like on the interoperability layers. So as an infra builder, I know that this is going to be something that can be solved by the players, by the wallets, by the dApps, because we see many solutions already there. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think we all made a really good point that when it comes to me, interoperability sounds like very infra related, so I needed to understand all kind of technical stuff. But when it comes to solving the problem, making seamless integration and make users be like friendly with the usage, I think, yeah, it makes sense. It's really a clear, good example. How can we understand about the interoperability? And my next question might be, so if we, like interoperability solutions have struggled to prioritize security without sacrificing like speed, connectivity, capital efficiency, like or statefulness. And since restaking removes the need to consider the level of trust and risk, I think users can tolerate by deriving them from the same source as rollups. So how does change how we think about the security?
I think with restaking, with the reuse of many of the components, not only the capital, but also some maybe the operators, because operators are shared among AVSs now, and maybe the common stack that everyone is built on top of it. So it's getting mature and giving, I would say, giving like each of the silo users more confidence because they know that they are now building like out of a common ground, basically. I'd like to actually mention something called I mean, it's also really trending right now in crypto space, which is the based stuff, right? Based rollup and based confirmation, based sequencers. This is also just one step further on top of this kind of reusabilities, because you're now adding more functionalities to maybe to the Ethereum proposers or some of the operators, so that they can still like kind of, I mean, you can know that it's still some kind of like established entities that building solutions or running infrastructure for you. So I would say this is gonna give user better like confidence on security.
So Picasso's solution for IBC on Solana actually uses restaking. So I'm not going to get into technical details, but with IBC, you need state proofs on a blockchain to actually implement the protocol, and Solana doesn't have that right now. So we built a restaking layer on Solana and have sort of an AVS, which is providing the state proof for Solana. So all of the IBC Solana, so all of the IBC programs exist on Solana, but this AVS for IBC on Solana is providing state proofs. It's kind of like a chain inside of a chain that we've built. And what restaking could do is that there are other chains which also lack state proofs, so we could build this solution and build IBC over there too.
I'm not sure my technical skills will let me handle that questions with 100% accuracy. So again, from a product and purely BD perspective, we're always looking at the risk-reward ratio from a user perspective. Restaking is bringing a premium on the yield on traditional staking assets. So from a user perspective, it's very appealing for them because the user might not always calculate where the yield is coming from. We saw it in the past. Luna was a good example. People were aping in that yield without trying to understand where the yield was coming from. It was the case with Celsius. A lot of projects, in fact, had this issue. Everything oriented to retail people. People are here to to take what you are going to give them. If interest rate, we could provide them 100% APY and some very decent assets, but at the end, the user benefit on that could be negative. So restaking needs to be considered exactly on that way. From a wallet perspective, it's a new innovative process to generate yield for users against a new kind of risk. So we need to calculate and to assess that risk in order to offer these extra yields on the best condition possible for our user.
Yeah, I think restaking, I think it's great answer from the panelists, and just to add maybe a bit more about, like restaking, instead of having isolated chain security, you are going to have, and we are going to have a unified security layer. And the restaking part is really useful because again, I think we are going back to the capital efficiency, and the capital efficiency of the restaking is huge, and it's also going to improve the return on capital for people that are restakers and using LRTs or LSTs. At the end of the day, I think restaking is going, by unifying and making everyone able to launch a new protocol with a high security using restaking, we are going to see more and more adoption and mainstream adoption through different protocols that wouldn't have been able to start without restaking.
Yeah, thank you for all of the explanation. And I'm just curious about what you guys are looking for in like 3 months in terms of like restaking, of course, interoperability. I think like when I came to Ethember last time, all people were talking about restaking, but when it comes to actual like building some product, it takes time, and you guys will put some efforts to actually make them live. So I'm curious, maybe people will not be so interested in like restaking compared to past, but what does actually matter in terms of like building your products, and what you guys are looking for in like 3 months and 6 months in next few era?
I think in the next 3 months, I think first of all, 3 months is a really short time in crypto. Everything is moving so quickly. I think maybe we should be focused a little bit more on the longer term than on the 3 or 6 months. But if we have to talk about the 3 or 6 months, I think we are going to see a convergence and more integrations of restaking, interoperability across all blockchains and protocols. And at the end of the day, if there's one word to keep in mind is convergence, we are going to see also more integrations and collaborations between protocols. So yeah, convergence is the word.
If I had to keep one word, I would say promising. As you mentioned, restaking happened, if I can say, a few months ago, maybe a year ago when we started to talk about it. But in the meantime, a lot of new concepts arrived on the market or become more mature, like the yield-bearing asset, real-world asset, restaking. So from a wallet and B2C perspective, the fact that all these markets are become more mature right now, this means wallets are going to be able to integrate them. The issue in the ecosystem right now, it's not on the building phase. For the last 5 to 6 years, people have done a very great job about building amazing products, solving issues. For me, the main pain point right now, everyone is talking about onboarding people, but I agree on that. But we also need to find a way for projects to be distributed on the best way possible. And wallets are a great way for that. We can do native integration. We can promote some project inside the app. We can give visibility to projects. At Trust, we have 13 million monthly active users. Every time we are doing a partnership or we are promoting a services, we are driving a lot of attentions, TVL. So yeah, for me, promising is the word. We had amazing builders, and now it's more the time about how do we want to distribute that amazing product.
I guess I'd like to see more variety of use cases with AVSs. One I'm interested in is Ethos, which is securing Cosmos L1s with restaked ETH from Eigenlayer. Another is like restaked rollups. Perhaps we can now finally decentralize the L2s with restaking. So yeah, just a more variety of AVS use cases which are beneficial to the ecosystem.
Right. To summarize, I would say maybe balance. I mean, not the balance of account, but the balance of the supply and demand. Because right now, looking at the ecosystem, we have way more like liquidity going on. We have way more operators or like RT projects participating in this, but we don't really see a lot of use cases being built. Even on Icon, I think we have like over 20 or something that being built or not launched yet. I mean, in a couple months, we should like really see more this kind of use cases, trying to make use of the like this kind of restaking infrastructure. You can have like staking, you can have operators that are like reputable that can help you to run any kind of softwares. You have middlewares or this kind of toolings help you to build solutions that use liquidity and also makes the life of the operator easier so that everyone can work together to provide new services. So I think maybe that's really the hope I have for maybe even 3 months and 6 months. We should have really a balance between the supply and demand. So there should be more even maybe users who'd love to use services provided by AWSs. So that drives the demand, and so that eventually there will be more solutions being built. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I was a little bit worried while I was preparing the session because I thought like restaking and interoperability both are very important topics, but might be too broad in terms of all of us. But I think you guys provided amazing answers. So thank you so much.